there was a Detroit Lions poll on, I believe, Pride of Detroit, correct?
Yep, Pride of Detroit.
A poll done on team and fan expectations for the Detroit Lions based on win total. And 62% of Lions fans agreed that the Lions should win between 7 and 9 games this upcoming season. Now, this is extremely interesting because I kind of fit into that 62%. I actually truly believe this is a football team that's roster will be good enough, considering the schedule, to win 6, 7, 8, 9 games. But you guys need to understand how the NFL works. Year 1, the honeymoon phase, right? We all love each other. Well, year 2, if you're not winning, I mean, Zach Taylor is an anomaly, really, because Joe Burrow got hurt his rookie year, right? And you weren't sure about Zach Taylor. So how does this year play out for the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell? And my question to you, Jeff, is I'm going to give you 2 scenarios this morning. The Lions win 7 and 9 games. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, what does it mean if they don't win 7 and 9 games?
I think the difference right there is if you're going in the right direction or not. Because I'm glad Lions fans all mutually agreed on the 7 to 9 win expectation, because we talk about it on the show, and it's a fair expectation, considering the Lions were in a lot of their games last year and just couldn't close it out. But they couldn't win on the road last year. They didn't win a single game on the road, but they still scratched and clawed despite the injuries. And I think it's time the city of Detroit has these types of expectations. Like, if the Lions come out next year and wins 5 games, Dan's on the hot seat, and that's the reality. And that would be what? Close, not even double-digit games in 2 years. Like, we have to start questioning the head coach, considering, look around the league, all young offensive coaches that have been able to turn things around quickly. I understand the Lions are a different situation, but there's no question in my mind with the draft capital they have, the guy they have in place with Brad Holmes, and his talent evaluation. You've seen it in his first season, so we'll see if he continues it through his second draft. But with that being said, Dan has no reason not to at least scratch and claw for another 7-8 games. I think that's the deciding factor. If he wins less than I would put the mark at 6 games. I mean, I'm pushing 6. I want to say 7.
Is there a hot seat number?
Yes,
really?
Absolutely, yeah.
I would say no. I don't think there's anything he could do barring what, 0-17. That would.
So if
put
he
him on
comes
the
out
hot
next
seat.
year and gets like 3 wins, you're good.
I don't
it.
see him on the hot seat. Maybe going into next season, but I don't see him on the hot seat.
No, not fired after next season, but the
well,
next season.
That's kind of where I'm getting at. I don't see any scenario where this guy is going to be gone after 2 years. So next year, it's a building year. And I always say this. How do you build a winning culture? Well, you win.
Yeah.
You have to win games now, right? And I think you have a quarterback that can win you games. I think you have an offense that can control the clock, control the line of scrimmage, and actually be more, I would say, productive than maybe what teams will expect this season from you. Now, your defense, how will it upgrade? Look, there's still free agency. There's the draft. There's the Tracy Walker situation we'll get to a little later. But I think 7 and 9 wins is fair. I really do. And 62%, if you told me this last year, I would be laughing at you. And I actually was laughing at you because you guys told me 10 wins. I'm on board with 7 and 9. I think that's extremely realistic. And I know Neil wants them to lose as many games as possible, given they have a bad start. But you can't build a winning culture with this head coach by losing this many games.
No.
You need to start winning. Now, if you told me, well, they lose 13 games for the next 3 years with Dan Campbell, well, then it allows a new guy to come in and he can try to build a winning culture like a Sean McVay did, because he walked in to the Rams and they had 10 consecutive losing seasons.
Yeah.
So, if Dan Campbell wants to be the guy, the successful head coach for the Detroit Lions, the coach that is remembered that actually turned it around and actually built a real football team, you got to win football games. You got to win football games. And I know there's so much that goes into it. But we're in year 2. Year 1, culture, right? Year 2, win. And I'm not asking for the playoffs. But you got to win a tangible amount of games. You can't sit there at 4-13, 3-14, even 5-12.
That's not yet.
And you expect me to take you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that. And they're not going to go into the season expecting to lose a lot of games. They're going to want to win games. but it's put up or shut up now. You going to win games or not? You're going to draw up game plans that give you a significant advantage week to week? It's on you. I think 7 to 9 wins is realistic for this football team with this schedule.
Yeah.
I really do.
No doubt.
And you know what? I love that 62% of Detroit Lions fans answered this way. You know why, Jeff?
Because they're actually holding people accountable.
Thank you.
That's what we want.
You want some... Again, I don't need a division in year 2 because I know where this team is at. But if I gave you, let's say, a betting line over 5.5 wins, over under, you would take the over, I think. I think 6 wins is doable.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take the under like we did last year. But again, what do you want to see? I always compare him to Jim Schwartz. I feel like that's the comparison because the situation he walked into was chaotic. Schwartz walked into 0-16. Campbell walks into post-Quinn Patricia era. I mean, that wasn't fun at all. And year 1, they lose a lot of games.
Yep.
And then year 2, they lose a lot of games, but they had 6 wins. And then year 3, bang, 10-6. I feel like that's the Lions' schedule.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're going. Now, could they win 10 games this year? Look, I don't know.
No.
I don't. I really don't. I don't know what's going on in Green Bay. I think Minnesota are going to be the best team in the division this year. Who knows, right? They could shock a lot of people. Just Jeff Okudah come back and become an all-pro player? Again, a lot of what-ifs, but I think kind of where I'm trying to bring everybody on the same page here is there's expectations now in year 2. You don't get to blow leads. You don't get to not score more than 20 points for 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive weeks. That's not going to be a thing. You're not going to be able to start 0-8 and expect everybody to say, look, man, he's building a culture here. Really? You build by winning. And if he wins 6, 7, 8, even 9 games, that's a step in the right direction. Year 3 must be a winning season. It can't even be 9-8 in year 3. It needs to be 10, 11, 12 wins. Again, if you don't like my expectations, I don't know what to tell you.
You know what I'm curious to see, too, is if we're going to see the same Dan Campbell. I understand last year there's different circumstances, and he could risk it in that year, but I'm curious to see in this year where you're expected to win, 6, 7 games. Do we still see that same aggressive Dan Campbell that we saw last year? Because you've seen it, in LA with the Chargers. Brandon Staley, very aggressive, and it kind of ended up biting him in the ass at the end of the year. So I'm curious what kind of Dan Campbell we see coming out. Are we going to see the Dan Campbell that are willing to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 3, or the Dan Campbell that settles to take a field goal or punt the ball away? That's what I'm most concerned about, just because it's higher stakes now. No one's going to be concerned when you're going for a trick play on 4th and 10 and it's a fake punt. Jack Fox throws a dime. There's going to be way more risk reward this year. So I'm curious to see what kind of Dan Campbell we see. That's really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you guys need to understand this is progressional improvement, right?
Yeah.
Do any of you actually think Dan Campbell is going to take this team and win 11, 12 games this year? I'll wait on those answers. I expect them to be no. Okay. So barring that information, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins is kind of where you want to be. Worst case, best case scenario towards the end of the year. Between 6 and 9. And if he delivers that, he's going to get year 3. There's no doubt about it. And then you can sit there and say, well, 10, 11, 12 wins, Dan, where's it at? Show me. That's where this is going. And that's why I compared it to Schwartz. Schwartz, I believe, was 2 wins, 6 wins, and then 10 wins.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
That was Jim Schwartz. It took 3 years. Now, granted, his first 2, you guys have to understand, Matthew Stafford did not play, 9 games, 10 games at most? He was hurt all the time. Stafford's first full season, which was year 3 for Schwartz, 10-6. Again, different situations now, right? Campbell has a quarterback. I'm not saying he's Matthew Stafford, but he's good enough.
He's at least a veteran.
If Ryan Tannehill can get the number 1 seed,
yeah,
you guys can figure out how to win with Jared Goff.
Yep.
All right? And I don't like Jared Goff, but that doesn't mean you can't win football games with him. You have a deep backfield. You have the offensive line. You have the tight end if healthy. You have a wide receiver. Who knows what Cephas does? Who knows what you do in free agency and in the draft? The defense needs an edge rusher. The defense needs secondary help, linebacker help. And if you can address those needs, even 60% of them, I think it's a much better football team than last year.
Definitely.
And I'm willing to jump on the train of 7-9 wins. I see it. The schedule it's a cakewalk schedule. Now look, there's no easy games in the NFL, don't get me wrong. But that's where we're going. Hey, you made it all the way through. I'm so proud of you. Why don't you make me more proud? Like, subscribe, and watch another video.